you have to understand that not everybody is going to be as motivated as you. Not everybody is going to be as hungry as you, as focused as you, as eager as you. And you have to humbly accept that.
Connected to Sales Remastered.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sales Remastered. My name is Daniel. I'm your host. And in this episode, in Breakfast of Champions, we're going to talk about leadership. Yup, leadership. And so this episode is really going to ring true to any of those watching who want to be a leader, become a leader, or are a leader within their circle. And if you want to utilize this skill of leadership to establish your own little brand where you're at in your atmosphere or in your circle, or utilize this skill to bridge yourself to a promotion, or maybe you envision yourself to getting out of a sales position in more of a management role or more of an operations role. Well, leadership is natural, right? Leadership is just something that, you really need to start building at a younger age. And I'm going to share with you a few different hacks of my experience in climbing. And so, welcome back. Again, my name is Daniel. I'm the host. And I'm going to share with you why I believe that this topic is important based on my own personal experience. I, for one, came up very young. I was always the youngest one in the room in sales coming up, right? Like, I always got a lot of attention real quick because I was just naturally advanced with regards to sales, most in particular phone sales, telesales. And so since this particular skill of telesales was a pretty hard talent to have, right? Like, it was a hard skill to have. It was a hard skill to develop because a lot of people are just psyched out. They can't find success as much as they want within this particular field of telesales or telemarketing or phone sales, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's very hard for them to adapt to because psychologically they believe that they need to be in someone's point of view, like someone's, like, to be in person, right? To be face to face in order to sell. And so their mindset is so clinged on to the fact that they are just over the phone that they're actually so worried about having the handicap of thinking, oh, well, these people, all they got to do is hang up on me, or all these people are going to do is make an excuse, and it's just not the same as having them in front of me. And so that's probably the reason why maybe you never ventured off into telesales or don't do, sales over the phone. Or maybe it's the reason why you do. Who knows? So the reason why I bring this up is because me having kind of like this natural skill of doing it, I progressed very fast. And so typically being the youngest one on the sales floor, because I grew up, I was coming up in real estate as selling home loans and selling mortgage loans, right? But I started off as a telemarketer. And so fortunately, real estate just happens to be an industry in which you can generate a lot of income if you're good at what you do. And I was good at what I did, or what I do today still. And so coming up though, I was always the youngest one. And so I was surrounded by loan officers that were like 10, 15 years older than me. But I was really good on the phone. And as you know, if you're in sales, if you're good at what you do, well, guess what? They'll fucking VIP you on, they'll fast track you to management. And that's just how it is. It's always been that way, and it always will be this way, because the motive is to have you teach other people how to do the job like you do. In other words, teach those around you how to be successful like you so they can make more of you. And so it is profitable to any sales floor to multiply their top producer. So it is a sacrifice though, because ultimately what they're doing is they're taking the top producer and gambling it all, hoping that you can teach other people. Because see, not everybody's built to be a manager. Some people just kill it on their solo mission. Like they're just, they're just better off Han Solo. So if you know, sometimes you might get a management role and you may not just be cut out for it. And I want to share with you that I know exactly what that's like because I went through it. You know, when I first got promoted as a sales manager, I was barely like 22, I think 23 years old. And I got promoted to a manager of a sales team, and I was the youngest one. Like I was the youngest one leading people that were middle-aged, like people that were 10, 15, 20 years older than me. And just because I had a good skill, right? But the challenge was, though, is that these individuals who were older than me, they didn't look at me at like their leader. Number one is because I was very new and I was young. And then number two is like there was already kind of that camaraderie within that group. Like, so I was new coming in, like you saw me fly by you. Like you were always in this, it's like you sitting at the bus stop and you just saw me coming. You thought I was going to stop where you are, but I just passed your ass up. Like I just kept going. Like you were just on the bus stop like this. Like that. like that's just how it was. And so anyway, I digress. And so going back to the experience was that I had to come in and prove myself, and having older people around you who don't necessarily know you, they're not going to give you the credit. And so here's the thing that you need to take away is that because I experienced it, is that if you are trying to get into management, or you're in management, or you've been managing and you have kind of a hard time getting through to your team, or your team is doubting you, or you're having conflict with your team, I want you to understand this, is that you as a leader should not try to lead, but instead lead from the front is what I'm referring to. Instead of trying to lead from the front, meaning that you're telling people like heave, you know what I mean, like go this way, and try to kind of sway them into doing something that they believe is a grind. When I say they, I'm talking about your team. You got to lead from the back, meaning that you are always behind them, watching them push forward, helping them push forward. And so you might be like, well, D, how the fuck do I lead from the back, bruh? If I lead from the back, they're not going to see me, bruh. And what I'm talking about is you lead from the back by simply ensuring that each and every individual is on their own track. And so you're kind of watching them, right? And so if you're leading from the front, they're behind you. Get it? And so you're not watching them. You're just kind of watching what's ahead of you. And when you get in that mindset, like as a leader, where all you're focused on is the destination, you're not necessarily focused on the vehicle anymore, right? Like the vehicle is your entire team. Like as a team, you need to ensure that everyone is on the same mission, everyone is on the same goal, everyone has the same mindset. And in order to do this, you need to build the right culture and environment. And in order to build the right culture and environment, you need to earn their trust and their loyalty. And so what I have found as a challenge going in was that I didn't necessarily have yet the trust and the loyalty. But because I was so young, I had to come off with this strong image. And my strong image was that I was now a manager. And I took it too strong to my head. Like it got too, like it became my persona, like to manage. And I was so young, I didn't realize that the best managers are actual, you know, they're teammates, right? Like they're players also. And so my manager at the time wasn't necessarily like me coming up before I got promoted. And the reason why I got promoted is because my manager got fired and I was the best loan officer on the floor. And so naturally they put me in the position and be like, yo, try and lead these people because you're the best person on the team. And so I was like, all right, cool. You know, I got a little bump and raise. You know, I got a little corner office. It was cool. Like but here's the thing is that I was too focused on the status, and you know, I was still at an age where, you know what I mean, like when you put your title on your email and shit, like I wanted the SR, like the senior meant so much to me, and that was just kind of my mindset, and that's what I really liked about it. It was more about the image and title. I wasn't necessarily about kind of like the mindset, right? And so I'm speaking to you if you're having a challenge going into leadership, or you're scared about entering leadership, or you want to know what to do when you enter into leadership. And my key takeaway is this, is that number one is that you have to understand that not everybody is going to be as motivated as you. Not everybody is going to be as hungry as you, as focused as you, as eager as you. And you have to humbly accept that. And if you understand that not everyone's going to be like that, then you can single out those individuals who are not like you. And why you have to single them out is because they're going to distract you. And if you let them distract you, they're going to take your attention away from those who are like you. And what happens is, if your intention is simply on those, focused on those people on your team who are not like you, and your whole time, energy, and focus is, how do I make those people like me, or how do I get them to want it like me, or how do I get them to be eager like me and have the same hustle as me and just have that go get it attitude. And your focus is going to be so much on that you're just only speaking to them, and you become neglectful from the individuals who actually do earn it. And this is true even as a sales position. Like, even if you're still in sales, like, you don't even need to be a leader in your team. You could be in sales, and that's just a kind of a commonality of our own personality, our own view of things. And so, for example, like, instead of being neglectful of your teammates that do earn your time as their leader, we, even from a sales position, we can neglect our prospects or our leads who actually do deserve our time, and actually be so focused on prospects or leads that don't deserve our time, simply because we see the loan amount, or we see the commission rip, or we see the upside. Well, as a leadership role, our upside is also commission. It's also money, right? But more or less, it's a challenge, and it's a challenge that we put in front of our own selves, but it deteriorates our mindset. It becomes like that one consumer. It becomes like that one prospect. Like, you're trying to sell Mr. Patel a 5.5% interest rate, but he keeps asking you for that 1.25 30-year fix, no fees, no costs, and he wants it done in like 23 hours, right? And he don't want to give you his last name. He don't want to give you his social, but he wants all that. It's like that person, right? And even though you confidently know you could save Mr. Patel, you could change his life for the good. Like, you could double his income. You could double the value on his home. You could rid him of all illnesses, right? Like, you could literally be the messiah for that dude. And he still will be like, nope. I don't care if you can save my life. Nope. I want the 1.25 30-year fix. It's like that. Like, and you know what I'm talking about. Like, you get to that lead where you're just like, bro, I'm like, I don't understand how you're thinking. And sometimes we'll give it that extra few hours trying to explain it because we believe that it really helps. However, we become so devoted in that person's perception in trying to convince them to see the value. Well, in leadership role, the same thing is going to happen with your teammates. You're going to be so dedicated to change a person's point of view, and I want to let you know you're just beating a dead horse, because people are going to believe and think the way they think. The only true way to change their perception is to demonstrate what you preach, is to practice what you preach. And so if you're telling this dude to go view it that way, then boo-boo, you need to view it that way too. You need to see it that way too. You need to believe it that way too. You need to strive and be hungry for it, just like the way you're telling that person to do it. And so what happens is, if you find a way to switch up and actually practice what you preach, and that's how you lead from the back. You're pushing them forward. You're watching their actions from afar, right? And saying, oh, you're falling off track. Let me put you back on track individually, right? Like, I'm not sending a blanket email and a message out to everyone on the entire team and subliminally talking to the underachievers. Like, I my message to my entire team is very motivational. And if there's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 agents that just aren't there, whether in mindset, production, morale, enthusiasm, energy, then I'm hitting them off to the side, just directly to them, like, yo, boo-boo, what's wrong? Right? Like, showing them my individual attention, but I'm not bringing in the top performers into this conversation, because the top performers should just focus on their own energy, and they're top performers for a reason, and they're doing their thing. So I'm gonna let them do their thing. I'm not gonna fix it if it's not broke. But if it is broke, then how you fix it is you actually have to get down to their level individually, not rip them in front of everybody, not, you know, demand that they, because, you know, our patience is really what tests us, right? And so we have a lot of built up aggression, and we become impatient because it's a little task that we just can't fathom them not understanding how to fix. And because we can't fathom that, we show impatience. It's kind of like when your kids or something like that ask you a question, you clearly know the answer. Well, you know the answer because you're fucking 30 years old, or you're 40 years old, or you're 20 years old, right? But someone who's 3 years old or 4 years old, they're not gonna fucking know the answer. But still, nonetheless, we were like, right? Like, duh. And so you have to show empathy. You have to realize that it's not necessarily their fault. You know, and if you can show them the answer, and you take the few minutes to show them it correctly and win their trust and win their admiration, then guess what? You got someone who's dedicated to go all out for you as if you're their family. And that's exactly how they should feel. They should feel like they're your family. And so I hope this message made sense. If it did, comment, like, subscribe, hit that bell, share the video link with someone who needs to see this. If you're in a leadership role, or if your leader needs to see this, go share this link with them and be like, yo, boo-boo, go check out this video, bruh. You know, like, stop tripping and stop sweating shit. Just fucking hook up to @sales remastered and enjoy the ride. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.